Are you struggling with debts? It's a simple question, yet it carries a weight that can make the strongest of us wince. In the world of finance, we often find ourselves in a dance with debt, a dance that can sometimes feel more like a wrestling match. The first step to winning this match is to face the reality of your situation. It's time to look debt in the eye and acknowledge its presence in your life. You need to tell yourself the truth, even if it's hard to swallow. Maybe you're driving a luxury car, dining at the finest restaurants, all while your bank account is gasping for air. It's a reality many of us know too well, pretending to be rich while being broke. This charade needs to stop. Now, this isn't about shaming yourself or wallowing in guilt. It's about gaining clarity, understanding where you stand financially. It's about knowing where you are so you can chart a path to where you want to be. The next step might be a bit of a bitter pill, but it's essential. You need to stop accumulating loans that you can't pay back. This might mean making sacrifices, cutting back on luxuries, or reevaluating your spending habits. It's not about deprivation, it's about making smarter choices that serve your financial health. The truth about debt is that it's not just a number, it's a lifestyle, a mindset. It's about how you relate to money, how you spend it, and how you save it. It's about understanding that every financial decision you make either moves you closer to financial freedom or pushes you deeper into the debt pit. So, take a deep breath, look at your financial reality without flinching, and make the decision to change your relationship with money and debt. Remember, the journey to financial freedom starts with a single step, and that step is honesty. You can't reach your goal if you don't know where you are. The road to financial freedom begins with understanding the truth about your debts. It's time to face that truth, to break free from the chains of debt, and to start building a future of financial security and abundance. Next, you must take inventory. Now, we're not talking about the kind of inventory you take at a grocery store or in your wardrobe. We're talking about a complete rundown of all your debts. It's crucial to bring every single debt you owe into sharp focus, be it to investors, friends, family, or even that small coffee shop down the street where you have an unpaid tab. Now, I can imagine you thinking, oh, that sounds overwhelming. Yes, it can be. But remember, this is a journey to financial freedom, and every journey begins with a single step. This is that step. It's about laying all your cards on the table, taking a good, hard look at what you're up against. This is about truth. And truth, my friend, is the first step to freedom. Now, here's where things might get a little tricky. If your debts run deep, chances are you're going to need some help to navigate your way out, and that's perfectly okay. It's not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of wisdom, to recognize when you need help and to reach out for it. And who better to help you navigate the murky waters of debt than a trusted accountant? Yes, you heard that right. Hiring an accountant when you're neck deep in debt isn't an extravagance, it's a necessity. An accountant brings to the table a keen eye for detail, a knack for number crunching, and a depth of financial knowledge that can prove invaluable in your journey towards financial freedom. You might think, but hiring an accountant is expensive, and yes, it can be. But think of it this way. An accountant can help you get your finances in order, help you strategize your debt repayment, and most importantly, save you from making costly mistakes. It's an investment, really. And it's one that's bound to pay off in the long run. Remember, rich people have accountants for detailed and accurate accounts. You see, they understand the value of having an expert by their side. And as we take this journey together, it's time for you to understand that value too. Have you got a clear image of your debts? That's a question we often shy away from, isn't it? But it's crucial to visualize our debts, to see them right in front of us in black and white. We're not just talking about a rough estimate here. We need a detailed overview of all our debts, the exact amounts and who we owe them to. It's about being real with ourselves and acknowledging the magnitude of the financial hole we're in. Now let's imagine a whiteboard. Picture every single debt you owe, written clearly on that board, the names of your creditors, the amounts you owe them, and perhaps even the interest rates if applicable. It might be a daunting sight, but remember, it's the first step towards gaining control. Next, we need to think about our monthly payments. How much can you realistically afford to pay off each month? It's not about overstretching yourself and living on bread and water. It's about finding a balance and making consistent, sustainable payments. You see, debt repayment is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's not about how quickly you start, but how steadily you keep going. It's about endurance, resilience, and the will to keep moving forward, even when the finish line seems far off. And speaking of finish lines, it's important to have a timeline in mind. How many months or years will it take you to completely pay off your debts? This is not about setting unrealistic goals, but about having a clear end in sight. It helps to keep us motivated and focused. But let's be clear about one thing. Achieving financial freedom is not an overnight process. It's a journey that requires patience, discipline, and a whole lot of grit. It's about making sacrifices today for a better tomorrow. It's about rewriting your financial story, one debt at a time. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and visualizing your debts is that first step. It's about facing your financial reality and charting a path out of it. It took me 10 years to achieve financial freedom. So buckle up, because you're in for a long ride. But trust me, the destination is worth every bit of the journey. Now let's determine the order in which you will pay off each debt. This is where strategy comes into play. It's not about tackling the largest mountain first. It's about gaining momentum by knocking down the smaller hills. Consider your list of debts. You might feel compelled to start with the largest one. That's a natural instinct, but here's why it might not be the most effective approach. When you begin with the largest debt, it can take a significant amount of time to see any substantial progress. This can be disheartening and may lead to frustration and potentially giving up on the plan altogether. Instead, consider the snowball method. This involves starting with the smallest debt. Once this is paid off, you use the money freed up from that debt to attack the next smallest one. You continue to do this, each time freeing up more money to put toward the next debt. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, gaining size and speed as it goes. The reason this method works so well is because it provides a psychological boost. Each time you pay off a debt, no matter how small, it feels like a victory. It gives you the momentum and motivation to keep going, to tackle the next one and the next, until you're left with just the biggest debts. But remember, while you're focusing on the smallest debts, it's crucial to continue making minimum payments on all your other debts. Missing payments can lead to penalties, higher interest rates, and can damage your credit score, making it even harder to get out of debt. This strategic approach to paying off debts is about more than just numbers. It's about changing your habits, your mindset, and your relationship with money. It's about taking control of your financial future, one small step at a time. So, start small, celebrate each victory, keep the momentum going. Remember, it's not about the size of the debt. It's about how quickly you can erase it. Did you know there's such a thing as good debt? Surprising, isn't it? But it's true. Good debt, in essence, generates income. Think about it this way. You invest in real estate using borrowed money. That property then brings in a steady stream of rental income, covering your repayments and leaving some extra cash in your pocket. That's good debt. But here's the catch. Before you can effectively use good debt, you need to have assets. People often fall into the trap of buying liabilities, thinking they're assets. A fancy car might look good in your driveway, but if it's draining your wallet without bringing any financial return, it's a liability, not an asset. This is where many go wrong. They accumulate bad debts by buying liabilities first, and then try to turn things around by buying assets. It's a strategy that rarely works. I think first about assets, and I can have a great lifestyle. You can too, by understanding the difference between good and bad debts. This process requires discipline and dedication. Let's take a quick journey back. We started by facing the truth about our financial situation, cutting off the accumulation of unmanageable loans, and making a comprehensive list of all our debts. We brought in an accountant, a guide on our financial journey who helped us visualize our debts and strategize a repayment plan, starting with the smallest debts for quick wins. But remember, not all debts are created equal. We learned the power of good debt, the kind that brings in cash flow. We invested our earnings in assets like real estate and bonds, turning our debts into sources of income. This journey wasn't a walk in the park. It took tenacity, discipline, and dedication, but it led us to a place of financial freedom, where money worries are a thing of the past and a comfortable lifestyle is the present. Subscribe to this channel if you want to improve your personal finances and achieve wealth.